So today, I'm so excited because I have my very own personal trainer and friend with me, James Swan.
Thank you.
Hey, James, how are you?
Super.
You always ask me how I am. I'm always wonderful. Come here, James. I've never, ever asked you this before in front of anybody, but I need to know, how on earth did you get into the world of personal training? I know you've always been into your fitness, but how did you decide that you want to train everyone else?
How much time do you have? When I was, let's say 14, 15,
Yeah.
I got my black belt in Taekwondo.
Wow.
And I qualified for World Championships.
Yes.
So I was training for like 2 years up to that competition.
Yeah.
And I got my personal trainer.
Right.
So I started with a personal trainer in a big commercial gym and kind of took it from there.
Yeah.
So like, I know at that age you kind of don't really know what you want to do, but the second I started working with a PT, I was hooked.
Yeah.
So the good thing is I knew from the start exactly what I wanted to do.
Yes.
So like, I used to work in
From
this...
15, like?
Oh, young.
You're a legend.
I used to work in this sport shop in this gym.
Yes.
And all I do is read these manuals on training modalities, nutrition.
Yeah.
And obviously back then, no internet. So just like these books on like sport nutrition. Like I remember the first book I read was this, his name was Colgan Institute.
Yeah.
And it was like how nutrition, his claim was that with nutrition you could beat athletes on performance enhancing drugs.
Right.
Which I don't think is going to happen.
No.
But it was kind of opened up my world that food wasn't just food.
Right.
That if you could master nutrition and nutrients, micronutrients and timing of certain foods, that you could do a lot more with your body than just live day to day.
Okay. Okay. And you decided there and then, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And it's like back then it wasn't as easy as it is now.
Yeah.
And not that it's
What
an
do you
excuse.
mean it's not easy now?
Just in terms of like direction.
Right.
And I was lucky to work with some really, really, really good people that brought over great coaches.
Yes.
A friend of mine who has multiple gyms now, he brought over this guy called Charles Poligan, who was this international strength coach.
Right.
And when he came over, he kind of, that showed you the path of what it was like to be a great coach, that it wasn't, because for me and what I saw was fitness instructors, and there's nothing wrong with being a fitness instructor, but that's not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I wanted the optimal of whatever it was.
Yes.
So like the best nutritional approach, the best strength training approach to athletic development.
Right. Okay. So you also now yourself, because I see on your Instagram, I'm a bit of a stalker, you know, you do weight training and you enter all sorts of competitions worldwide. Tell me a bit, like, look at the size of you.
Stop.
Tell me a bit more about that.
So I competed in Taekwondo and martial arts kickboxing for a good few years, finished up when I was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
And then kind of just while I was opening the business, it was more of like a recreational exerciser.
Right.
And that's fine. But without, and this is what I do with my clients as well, without some form of goal or accountability, you're more likely to not stick to something.
Yes.
Or more likely not to eat as well as you want, because you have nothing to be accountable for now.
Of course.
I compete in the Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
So my division makes sure that I have to stay at a certain body weight.
Right.
And obviously if you have a competition coming up, like, so with weightlifting, you're on a platform by yourself, lifting a weight over your head.
Yeah.
And being embarrassed
is... I see you lifting those weights, I'm like, oh, Jesus.
I feel it. But not being embarrassed is a great reason to like stick at the diet, stick at the training, recover, sleep, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And how are you doing with all this? Come on, show off. Come on.
So, I'm a master now. So over 35 is a master, which kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But like I said, that like, so what they do in masters divisions is that, say, from 35 to 40, you're one age bracket, from 40 to 45, you're another age bracket.
Yeah.
But what it does is just keeps you focused.
Right.
You know, and that's like having something, I call them dopamine hits. So like work is one hit, and you go, but if it goes well or it goes bad, then you're not going to be in the best. If that's your only outlet, that's all you're going to have.
Okay.
So I try to make sure that I have, like, my family is an outlet. My daughter is an outlet.
Your beautiful little daughter.
Amazing.
Yes.
My partner is an outlet.
Yes.
My training is an outlet.
Okay.
So if one isn't going too well, I've got 5 other things to work at.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But rather than putting all your eggs into one basket.
Yes.
And obviously the issue with that is that if it's not going particularly well, you're not going to be in the best of mood.
Yeah, yeah.
So it kind of keeps you focused in all those endeavors.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, James, how did you open the Edge then? How long are you in the Edge?
January 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
God.
So that was like in the belly of the recession.
So the Edge is in Clontarf.
Yeah.
Near the wooden bridge, if you know Clontarf.
Yeah, no, and that's actually one of our best attractions. Is the view is unbelievable. So we're looking out at the golf club there.
Yeah.
And just the location is fab.
Yeah. So 2009, you started in the Edge.
2009 was Clontarf, and then 2019.
Yes.
Great time to open another place was Marino. So we have another gym on Phillipsburg Avenue.
Yeah.
So just off Griffith Avenue is base number 2.
And you're so busy.
Very busy.
Yes, very, very busy.
Very busy.
So I go into James once a week, okay, and then I do because you're in
She looks
Clontarf.
great.
God, thanks, James. But then I do my other bits at home, and I do my walk. I have a little bit of weight thing going on in my box room. My neighbours look over and see me doing my bit.
And Martin.
And Martin goes over now. Yeah, I don't know how good he is during the week, James. So I pass I don't know how many gyms to go over to, but I really trust you. And I think it's very, very, I know there's loads of personal trainers out there, but I find it really difficult to find somebody that I trust. And I know that you're never going to put me wrong, because I've had a few little bits done to myself over the last few years. And we've spoken about, I've had a bowel operation and I'm so paranoid about kind of, not putting it back out. You're amazing at giving me advice around, what I should and what I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, experience is huge.
Yeah.
But obviously being educated at something. And since we've started, so again, since 2009, we do weekly staff training for all of our staff.
Right.
And the good thing about that is it puts you in a precarious situation that every single week you have to come up with a topic.
Right.
And because the industry changes so fast, you have to keep on top of these things.
Of course.
So whether you're reading papers or bringing in speakers, it just keeps you on top of everything.
Yes.
And our clientele aren't what you probably see in other facilities. Our clientele, on average, are 40 plus.
Yes.
Predominantly female in our Clontarf base. So you have to be aware of these things. You're going to see them on a daily basis. We have people with multiple issues.
Yes.
They're coming in with any type of ailment.
Yeah.
So you just have to be on top of these things.
Okay. And you're amazing at that, I have
Thank
to
you.
say now. I always feel very, very comfortable. So James, talk to me. You don't drink alcohol at all.
No.
You don't. Yeah. And he's always going, no, I'm drinking drinks the weekend. Yeah, I did have a few drinks the weekend, but you don't give out to me about it.
No.
Because I suppose, you have to sort of deal with everybody as an individual. And just because you don't drink alcohol, that doesn't mean other people don't. However, drinking alcohol does tire you out a little bit, doesn't it?
There's a few areas with alcohol that it isn't just, let's say, calories in itself.
Yes.
There is dehydration, which is an enormous thing.
Yeah.
There's the fatigue aspect. There's the satiety aspect. There is that you're going to favour usually sugar-based foods after something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously because you're intoxicated, you're not going to really make the best choices. And then it's the days afterwards.
Yes.
Now, there's other chemical things that go on, like favoritism of digesting the alcohol before we move into other things like your carbs and your fats.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with drinking.
Yes. Just don't drink all the time.
There's nothing wrong with drinking. It's just a matter of when I set up goals, we usually go for this 80-20 split.
Yeah.
Of if you can stick to 80% of your life is in where you should be, your exercise is good, your nutrition is good, well then enjoy your 20%. But it's all relative to what your goal is and where you are and your time frame. So if someone came to me and said, listen, stone in a month, can it be done? I'm
stop eating.
Maybe it could be done, but you kind of have to put your grit effort on and do it.
Yeah.
So... And it's not that I have an issue with this in the fitness industry, but it just seems like there's a huge amount of how do you feel about this food? Rather than here's the goal, this is what you got to do, go do it.
Yes.
But it's all dependent on the person.
Yeah.
Like I said, what resource they have. Do they have a gym to train in? Do they have that food?
Yeah.
Are they vegan? Are they whatever type of particular diet they have to follow?
Yeah.
Your level of commitment.
Of course.
Like there's a huge amount of things to take into consideration.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose, like you said, you come across kind of people of all different ages and everybody has their own goals. So what I do love about it is that you treat them all as an individual and find out where they want to go with their weight thing. So, when it comes to weddings, James, and that's the industry I'm in, and this is Wedding to Wednesday, you'll have mothers of the bride, mothers of the groom, you'll have fathers. You'll have uncles, you'll have all sorts of people who want to get in shape for the wedding, but you'll definitely have the bride and the groom who want to look their absolute best on the wedding day. So a bride comes into you and says to you, I'm getting married in 6 months, versus a bride who comes into you and tells you they're getting married next year. I suppose there's a huge umbrella, there's a huge window there. Like what do? Do you just kind of ask them how they want to look? How much weight do they want to lose? Like, what's the story like?
Yeah, so we try not to be vague with things. Because if someone comes to me and says, want to lose weight, what's that mean?
Yeah. You don't like this weighing scales. You're always telling me not to stand on it. But again, like we said before, it all depends. So like, what is the goal? Do you want to lose weight or do you want to be... I want to
using quotation marks here,
bum.
like the word skinny.
Yeah.
And this is a word that keeps getting thrown around. It's like, I just want to be skinny.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we try to look at is your body fat to muscle ratio.
Right.
Okay. So when I have someone that wants to lose weight, I try to redefine that and say, we want to lose body fat.
Right.
So we look at your scale weight because it's important.
Yes.
And then we look at what the body fat measurement is off that.
Right.
So we're going to take girth measurements. We're going to take caliper measurements to define where we are with that. And that's what we're going to work towards.
Okay.
Because if the scale weight... Like I've had people before where they come in, let's say, they'll give an arbitrary number, 70 kilos.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, they're, let's say, 69 kilos. And like, I thought I'd lose it faster. I'm like, well, you haven't done resistance training before.
Yeah.
You have to put on a bit of muscle tissue.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously going to weigh something.
Absolutely.
As we lose body fat.
Yeah.
But if you focus on the scale, that person's going to go, it's not for me. But if we redefine that and say, like the scale weight again is important, but we're going to look at the measurements.
Okay.
We're going to look at like how fast we can get these girth measurements down. Let's look at your caliper measurements, and then you have a much better measurement tool for assessing where that person's going.
Okay. So I had the lovely Paula King, she's bridal designer. She was in here a few weeks ago and she said to me, we were talking about measurements and how, they do alterations. This bride came back into her and she said she had been doing too much exercises in the gym. Not that you can ever do, by the way, too much exercise in the gym. I know that. But her bum had completely changed, which I'd love. I'd love my bum to completely change. But she said she had to completely refit the dress.
Okay.
So you're a fella. Would you talk to the girls about the dress and how tight it is?
Well, you're going to be better at this than me. Like, when is your last dress fitting?
Okay, last dress fitting.
When is your last dress fitting usually as a bride?
Oh, geez. Well, you'd pick up your dress, I suppose, a week before the wedding. So your last dress fitting could be maybe 5 weeks, 4 weeks before.
Okay, and so wedding. At that point is obviously where you need to go.
Right.
Like, we don't take this any further.
Okay.
Now, usually what do people do? Go, well, if I just don't eat anything, then on the day, like, we've hit that goal. But obviously taking that into consideration, like,
yes.
So, like, if you came in, you said, like, I've got 6 months. And again, like, it's harder to say because it depends how far off you are from that goal at 6 months. So if you came in, you gave me an arbitrary number and you said, I want to lose a stone of body fat.
Yes.
But I want to get really, really healthy. I'm like, super, let's start with that.
Right.
And then up until that 4 week point before the wedding, you would have your goal.
Okay.
And then maintain.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Really important.
So don't be doing too many squats coming up to your last dress fitting. Okay. So I'm worried about the process, hen, stags, tasting without messing. How do I stay on track? So let's go back now, and they're sort of coming up to the sort of, 4 or 5 months before the wedding. How do they stay on track?
Yeah. So my approach to dealing with things, I'm a little, let's say, less PC with things.
Yes.
I try to speak to adults like they're adults.
Yes.
So I would say again, like we said before, like these 80-20 rule.
Yes.
That if 80% of the day is good or the week is good, well then enjoy that 20%.
Okay.
Now, staying within our figures. So when someone starts with me initially, I look at their calories.
Yes.
Their macros. So a calorie is the amount of food you're going to eat.
Right.
The macros is how much protein, fat and carbs.
Okay.
And then a micronutrient content, which you normally get from like vegetables or multivitamins or something like that.
Okay.
So we look at that first. And then we kind of give you a weekly figure.
Right.
So if you know that Saturday is going to be bad,
yeah,
which is okay,
yeah,
by how much?
okay,
And we're going to calculate that in with your week. So
Right.
we'll give an arbitrary number, 14,000 calories for your week.
okay,
Let's say we're going to go 14,000 and you're going to eat 2,000 per day.
all right.
But Saturday is going to be crazy.
Yeah, we're going to go nuts.
Well, then
Saturday.
maybe we'll go 1,800 Monday to Friday
Right.
to allow that extra few
For
calories on the
Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay.
So we're still using a process,
Yeah.
but you're having fun. But like we have a goal.
Okay.
Like stick to a particular plan.
Okay. Can I tell you what I struggle with?
Go.
I don't have feckin' time to be counting calories, James, and I don't know what's in everything. Do you know? So I started to go to this lovely nutritionist, and she was telling me what to do because I'm not great at eating first thing in the morning because I'm leaving the house at stupid o'clock,
Yeah.
and I'm not hungry to eat at that point. So, can you give them tips on sort of like if there's somebody like me who just doesn't have time to be writing down, and you told me to go into my Fitness Pal.
Yeah.
James,
So my Fitness Pal is an app.
I know.
So again, like how fast do you want to get this result?
Yes.
So when I work with clients, I put them into different tiers.
Right.
So I'll have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Most people aren't in the tier 3. Tier 3 is like a sports performance going into competition. Tier 1
Right.
and tier 2 is we start off and I go, let's have a protein source with each meal. Let's
Okay.
make sure that you have 2 vegetables per day.
Right.
So let's say a cup of spinach is 1 portion
Okay.
and 2 fruit portions.
Okay.
Okay, let's get that in. And that's
Right.
our tier 1.
Okay.
And then tier 2, we might go into the actual like calculations of things.
Okay.
Let's look at X amount of calories, X amount of macros, take this multi at this time. It's a bit more specific.
Yes.
But if someone comes in, they have no idea
Yeah.
about nutrition. When I say, and because you look at the weight of something versus what the macros is, and I'll give you an example. So if you have a chicken breast
Yeah.
and I say, I want you to eat 100 grams of protein per day, they'll go, oh, the chicken breast weighs 100 grams. Well, only 22-3% of that chicken breast is protein.
Right.
Now, you're calculating all these things, but we try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
But you still have to, I love when people start that they do at least a week of this MyFitnessPal.
Do you? Just
Yeah.
so that they really know what's going
Well, other
on.
than that, you're not going to know.
I know, yeah.
Because like for a lot of
It's
people,
a pain in the ass though,
it
James.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Depending on your perspective on it. Like, But if you're looking at this thing and you're going, geez, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, now you do.
Right.
So it's kind of liberating in that way that once you have a week of eating with this plan,
Yeah.
like knowing where you're going with things, then you don't have to look at it again.
Okay.
Like unless I want to make drastic changes, but at
Mhm.
least you'll know,
Yeah.
I need to eat 100 grams of protein. How am I going to put that into 3 to 4 meals per day?
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the heart. My husband is fast dancing. I'm always worried about him, James. I really am. And I'm like, did you walk today? Did you walk? I've stopped asking him, did you walk today, by the way, before he kills me. He did walk today, by the way.
Did he good?
What's the story? Like if you're worried about your heart and you've any sort of heart disease or like high cholesterol, talk to me.
Now, so this isn't my field. And obviously, anytime I'm dealing with...
But you're very good at giving him advice. So tell everyone else
the
advice you give him.
So, if I have someone that comes in and said there is a issue with, let's say, the heart.
Yeah.
First, I get them to talk to their GP.
Well, that's
and the GP will work
essential.
with me
Yeah.
and say, look, he can engage in X amount of exercise at this intensity.
Yes.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
But it depends on what the problem is.
Yeah.
So, like, you have these terms that are thrown around like cholesterol is a bad thing. But again, like we said before, it all depends. Like, where is it coming from?
Yes.
What type of fat are you eating?
Mm-hmm.
Are there things I can add in there? But taking all that aside, if the person is leaner,
yes,
and especially for men, that your visceral body fat, so when you have weight in your tummy, which is more of a kind of a place where men put body fat, you have a higher risk of heart disease.
Right.
So we make sure...
Really? Because you've weight in
Absolutely.
your tummy?
Yeah. So when you have weight in your tummy, you can imagine that your organs are full of that particular fat, which is really, really inflammatory to the body.
Right.
So we make sure that if you have weight in the tummy, let's get it down.
Okay.
So that's like rule number 1.
And how do you get it down? Is that cardio?
Is that cardio? Cardio is a big, big help.
Okay.
Like cardio is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not the only thing.
Right.
So I like to make people stronger. Why? Because if the muscles are stronger, it takes a lot of pressure, especially as you get older.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of pressure off internal organs, heart and lungs, if the muscles can do more.
Okay.
So if you're the person that going up the stairs is a big effort, let's get stronger.
Right.
You know, like, so if I give someone, let's say, a small exercise, like a step up,
yeah,
and that's difficult, well, then obviously going up the stairs is going to be difficult.
Okay.
Which means in turn that your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system is going to be under a bit more pressure. So if I get the person stronger, it's a lot less taxing on the system.
Okay.
So let's get strong.
Yeah.
Let's get, I like to give the likes of fish oil in the diet.
Why?
Especially for heart disease.
So why?
Has so many functions, but one of them is anti-inflammatory, and two is it aids in your HDL to LDL ratio.
Okay.
So you're good versus bad cholesterol.
Okay. Talk to me about that then. I asked you about this the other day. What's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol? So if I go and get my bloods done and I get like 7 point something back, I'm like, and
yeah, you're going to get me killed here. So there's a reference range of where these numbers should be.
Right.
Where I like to see these things, again, I'm not here to look at someone's blood work.
I know.
Is the ratio of their HDL to LDL versus their total triglycerides, their total fat number for that.
Okay.
So if the ratio is in a good place, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But again, it's not up to me, it's up to their doc.
Yes.
What I get to see is people that come in with a statin.
Yes.
So they may be taking a medication to lower their cholesterol. Yeah. And again, it's not up to me to get them on or off these things.
Yeah.
I just help facilitate the health end of these things.
Yeah.
So I recommend for anybody in statin to take a product called coenzyme Q10.
Go on, what's that? I'm going out to buy that.
It's
now.
like a rate limiting nutrient for making energy.
Right.
So some of the people that I train, it's not a lot of them, when they take a statin, they're absolutely drained.
Right.
So when they take Q10 with their fish oils, you will see a change in their markers, but obviously we're dropping their body fat as well with that.
Okay.
It's just like all these things are aids in the whole process.
Okay.
Like we're not just taking a singular approach to it. We're like trying to look at what's the sleep like, what's your nutrition like,
yes,
you know, what's the body fat ratio like, are you strong, and obviously making sure that we try to look at everybody as a out of shape athlete versus like a victim or you're a case. Like I want everyone to hit the potential of what they can do.
Okay.
And then it's my job to actually just get you there.
Okay.
But you like, just because you're starting off with a 1 kilo dumbbell does not mean you're going to be there next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a few principles of exercise and nutrition, but the most important being like, are you consistently doing something over time? And are you overloading over time?
Okay.
Which means like, if we're lifting a 1 kilo dumbbell today, in a month if we're still doing it, like what are we gaining?
Yeah, nothing.
Exactly.
I'm not on a 1 kilo dumbbell, am I?
No, but when you came back to train with me again, like we
Yeah.
brought you from like a range of motion that you couldn't do.
Yeah.
Then we got you into that range and we could get you there. What did we do? Added weights.
Yeah.
So like,
how am I doing? Am I doing well?
Amazing. You cannot tell.
And James, you were talking like about exhaustion and sleep there. This is a big thing. You talk about sleep all the time and not having any lights on. Talk to me about sleep and how does it benefit? Obviously you feel better the next day, but what does it do?
You have to look at good sleep as in like I look at everything as like, we'll say you're a battery every day. Yeah. Like, are you recharging that battery?
Okay.
Like, what person are you going to be the next day if you've got bad sleep?
Right.
Like, what do we know about sleep? So, from a body fat point of view, if your sleep is bad, now we'll put a number on like 5-6 hours a night.
Yeah.
Then your ability to regulate your blood glucose, which is like the sugar you intake, is impaired.
Right.
So, what does that mean? You're more likely to store body fat. Rather than putting that sugar into muscle to be used as a fuel source.
Okay.
So that's super important. So if the goal is, I want to lose a few pounds for my wedding, like get the sleep together.
Okay.
But there are things we can do. We've heard all these things before. Like, don't be watching The Terminator at 11 o'clock at night. Like trying to stay away from TV.
Yeah.
I like to read.
Yeah.
Just for the hour before bed, the phone out of the bedroom. No, like I just think it's a cardinal sin to have TV in your room.
So to go back to the phone, I'm terrified of this phone thing. You know? Why keep the phone out of the bedroom?
Because the light.
Because of the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as well as that, like because I am terrible. Like my brain is always on.
Yeah.
That's
like mine.
And I can't be reading emails at 10 p.m. And which I do.
I know.
And then I'm awake, and then I'm like, I get it from my dad.
Because you can't fix it at 10 o'clock.
Well, I'm writing notes at 10 o'clock, and then I get kicked in the back. So I do a few things. I take magnesium every night.
What does that do?
So magnesium is one of our minerals
Right.
that it doesn't put us to sleep, but it kind of puts us in the direction of relaxation.
Right.
So I use magnesium. I drink chamomile tea. I do, I won't call it meditation, but like slow rhythmic breathing, just kind of slow everything down.
Do you see you like to meditate as well?
I love to meditate.
So do I.
Now, I'm not humming
or chanting,
but I'm just like slow breathing. I try to walk at night when I can, calms me down. If I'm kind of dealing with a lot of stuff in work or training wise, I do it as a recovery method. It just brings everything down.
Yeah.
So Abby, my daughter, goes to bed, let's say 7:30. We might watch something for half an hour, 45 minutes. I go for a walk, stretch, boring.
No.
And that kind of gets me into a good realm of sleep.
Yeah.
Because I know the next day I'm not the person, like she's awake at 5:45. Like I don't
in the morning.
Yeah. Stop. I don't need to be tired for her.
No.
And because I work so much, I don't want that the 2 hours I have in the morning.
You don't want to be wrecked in the morning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But so how many hours sleep then do you get?
10 to 6, 4 to 6, thereabouts.
Okay.
But it has to be restful though.
Yeah.
So like not drinking lots of water and liquids before bed. Well, you're gonna wake up to pee.
Yeah.
Oh. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Magnesium pre-bed will. So there are different forms of magnesium. I use one called glycinate.
Right.
And threonate. And these are just like when you take it, you feel the difference. Try it out, you will feel the difference.
So I'll write that down in a minute. Okay.
So when it comes to supplements,
yes,
it's really, really important that just like anything, if you buy cheap, you get.
Oh yeah.
So you can get a magnesium called magnesium oxide.
Right.
Nowhere near as good as the glycinate and threonate for improvements in sleep.
Okay.
So that reading, dim lights, no lights.
No lights.
No phone in bed, no
you
TV.
You even said about the red dot on the telly.
Yeah,
and you know being a bit anal.
Yeah. And whether that's immensely important. But like I've seen people put like plasters over these lights just to keep that down. But we do have blackout blinds in the bedroom.
Yes.
So I want to make sure because it improves everything. Good sleep improves everything. You want to feel better, sleep. You want to lose weight, sleep.
Wow.
You want to train better, sleep. You want to recover better. You have injuries, you have inflammation, sleep.
It's all sleep.
Absolutely. Because it's the only thing you're going to like, if 30% of your life is spent in a bed, like make it good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay. We're very bold, really, you know. So talk to me then about, so we're talking about weightlifting a second ago, you know, why do women need to weightlift? Now, obviously we don't need to like lift as many weights as you do, James. Why do we need to weightlift?
Because everyone does.
Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Okay.
So to put it in a way that will make sense for a lot of people, when we eat food, where would you prefer to go? Into muscle or into fat?
Yeah, well, obviously muscle. Yeah. Okay.
Have some.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. But in terms of like losing weight is important, but so the further, like when I first came on the scene with PT, like fat was this thing that didn't really do anything. It was just like this dragging weight on your body.
Yeah.
And muscle was more for, let's say we call it locomotion, like moving you around and for performance. But now we know that muscle has these signaling effects that it will tell you how to dispose your glucose, how much insulin to produce. Like it's doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like having a lot of muscle, one, you're going to look better.
Yeah, of course
you're going to have a much more favorable metabolism.
Yeah.
So why not?
Okay.
You know, like and like I'm going kind of lowballing here the amount of effects that muscle can have, but that's not to push you away from cardio training.
Yes.
It's just that you need to put them in conjunction.
Okay. Because, you know, I have a pal who just likes to walk for Ireland. I mean, she's like walks 2 hours a day. And we had this conversation just after Christmas and she said, like, I'm not losing any weight. And I said, well, you need to probably change what you're doing. I walk 2 hours a day. Do you lift any weights? No, because I walk 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
So she needs to be, you know, changing that.
Everyone does now.
Yeah.
Like not losing weight, like you have to be a bit broader and say like, what's your food like? Are you increasing, decreasing calories? Was it over Christmas?
Yeah, probably.
Like, how much protein is this person eating? Because it has like, what types of these proteins are you eating?
Yes.
So we have this thing called a satiety index. So protein has a much higher satiety, which is like it keeps you fuller longer.
Okay.
But different types of protein have different effects.
Yes.
So like the combination of foods in meals, it's such a broad thing.
Yeah.
But if you want your body to look better, which is why we exercise,
Yeah, of course.
lift weights.
Lift
Like
weights.
if you want your bone to be toned, lift weights. Walking isn't going to do that.
Okay.
You want your arms to look better, and like what we get with a lot of brides is like on the day, this is what's going to be shown.
Yes.
Well, then you're going to have to do something with it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you're like these kind of little bits here that wave back at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Bingo wings.
Bingo wings, yeah. What do you do? Is that just like weightlifting again, James?
So the bingo wings, just like anywhere that has fat on it,
yeah.
Is we have to lose body fat first.
Yes.
And at the same time, in conjunction with we're losing body fat and we're toning or like improving the look of the muscle.
Okay.
Because I don't use the word building because it's misconstrued as you're going to be huge.
Yeah, weightlifting.
But like we always have this thing in our heads that like, oh, lift weights and get big. Do you know how hard it is to put on muscle tissue? Like especially for females.
Yeah.
Like putting on muscle is really difficult and very expensive to do.
Okay.
And I mean by like it takes a lot of nutritional resources and sleep, etc., to do that.
Right.
So like if they're not all working together in tandem, like building muscle is really, really hard to do. It's really
hard.
But well worth it.
Okay. We just spoke briefly there about protein, and you're always asking me how much protein have I taken today. Why?
Because it's required for every process in your body.
Okay.
So metabolism, skin, then this works all the time. So I tried to get ladies to eat more protein. Like, I don't really want to eat meat.
Yes.
I like bits and pieces of this. And I don't have the issue as much with men.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Could be.
Why do you not have that as much with men?
Because if I told the man to eat steak 10 times a day, he would.
Oh, of course they would. Yeah. Okay.
But about 20 to 25 grams of protein per day is needed just for skin turnover.
Right.
Now, if the average person I see will probably eat 40 to 50 grams per day.
Right.
And all of the nutrients in our body have we'll call it this hierarchical effect with the nutrients. So if you eat X amount, it does the basic things first, like make your heart, make your eyes, make your hair. But if you have even more, because it's for me, it's equivalent of me saying like, Jen, here's 200 quid a week, live. Well, you could.
Yeah.
But if I said here's 10 grand a week, it's going to be better.
Yes, of
course. And we do the same thing with nutrition. Like small amounts will do a job, but if we have the optimal amount, we get the muscle, we get the metabolism, we get the energy.
Okay. And then calcium lately, because I said to you, like, I have a little injury in my knee that I've had I don't even know if it's an injury, I have a pain in my knee.
Yeah.
And you were saying to me, how much calcium do you take? Do you drink milk? And I'm like, just in my tea.
Yeah, and this is why I think supplementation is so important.
Yeah. Because,
like, nobody is going to have the perfect ratio of things in their body.
Yes.
And in terms of, like, are you eating the RDA of calcium? Like, if you're not going to look at my MyFitnessPal to track your things, you're not going to look at micronutrients, which is like your vitamins and minerals.
Okay.
So having like daily habits that you follow, which could be, I eat X amount of protein per day, takes care of a lot of these things. I have like just putting them into like a really, really good tip that I have is I put my multivitamin, I have like a little tub that I keep all my vitamins in beside the coffee tin.
Of course you do.
At 6 a.m. when she wakes me up, it's coffee and she makes me eat a banana every morning just because.
Oh,
and
James.
then I take my multivits and these kind of things. So
okay.
We call it piggybacking on habits.
Right.
So something that you're going to do every day, just piggyback that with something.
Okay.
So if you have a coffee every morning, put what you need nutrition-wise beside that.
Right.
And it becomes part of that piggybacking habit lifestyle.
Okay. Because, I've heard somebody who works at Martin and he was talking about, and he looks great now, this guy, I won't mention him because he might give out to me, but he looks amazing. And he said, it was a lifestyle change, Jenny. I just decided and that was it. How difficult is it to make a big because it is a big lifestyle change, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You drink your water there, James. You're always giving out to me for not drinking the water.
It can be, but perspective is everything.
Yeah.
Like you have to go into this thinking, like, what would a healthy person do? Why do I want to have these improvements?
Yes.
And for a lot of people, until they've been healthy, you don't know what it feels like. And when you wake up, you're like, I'm achy, I'm tired,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Like, is that the person you want to be? Is that
No.
the lifestyle you want to have?
No.
So building up habits, like, I won't put anybody under the illusion that like motivation lasts, because it doesn't.
No,
you
it
cannot be
doesn't.
motivated every day. So it has to be something that I like the word grit,
Yeah.
that you just do it.
Yeah.
So when I was 15, 16, I had this boxing coach, and everything was, it's your job.
Yeah.
And when you change your perspective to that, if I said, like, you're going to do this exercise because it's your job, well, you're not going to not show up to work. You just have to do it.
You just have to
So
do it.
over time, that becomes part of this new personality.
Okay.
But you will feel better for it. And by having these small little wins every day, like, I really don't think you should start off with, I'm going to exercise 7 times week 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat this, this, and this. But
Yeah.
small little things over time make a huge difference.
Okay. And James, I think we spoke about this before, running versus, all the people who run are going to get out to me now. What about running? Sort of people go and they train for the marathon and they run 20-something kilometers. Is running really good for you? He's afraid.
It's not for me.
I know, yeah, it isn't for you.
It's not for me. Does that mean it's bad? No, it doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
It's all, well, what's your goal?
Yes.
Do you want to run a marathon? Well, you better run a marathon.
Yeah, but is it good for your joints?
Is it good for your joints?
No.
Sorry, it's not something that I would recommend off the bat without doing some form of like a structural balance at the start. Now, what that means is that, like, are your quads and hamstrings in good shape? Is your back in good shape? Are you strong enough to do these kind of things?
Okay.
Because when we lift weights, we're under a controlled movement pattern.
Yes.
Like, you know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And let's say I might give you a set of 15 reps, you rest, we try to improve these things. I'm looking at your technique.
Yeah.
Or are you going out and pounding pavement for hundreds of thousands of steps without guidance?
Okay.
So, like, we had a lot of people that came back to us post-COVID riddled with injuries because they couldn't get to a gym. So what did they do?
Yeah, of course.
They went out and ran every day.
They were all on it.
So there was a lot of injuries. Now, does that mean running is bad? No.
Okay.
But usually for me, I'll put it in conjunction with a resistance training program.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I have a few questions for you, James, just
Fire
for the
ahead.
brides, because they will want to hear all of this. Am I better off restricting or adding things to my diet? What is the best approach?
Exchanging
Exchange
is better.
Right.
Better.
Okay.
Not
restricting.
Not restricting. Because, like with anything, when you restrict something, you want it more.
Yes.
But if we exchange something, so if I was starting, so when someone comes in and we do a consultation, now the majority of people that aren't in this field usually have the kind of same habits, same diet habits. So they might go, I have toast for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'll go, well, let's add 2 eggs to that.
Right.
So I'm getting what I want out of it, but I'm still not saying, well, you can't have that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, let's add that onto the plan.
Okay. So
we'll add the protein there, we'll have your fatty acids with that, and you get to have your toast.
Okay.
So you have the satiating aspect of the protein, but you're also aiding in building muscle tissue by having enough protein in your system.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Am I better off training myself or with somebody? You're going to say with somebody, aren't you?
With a trainer or with a friend or with a group, whatever keeps you consistent.
Right.
Like, most important. Now, what I'll say if you're training with somebody is, now this is probably like the optimal version of doing things, never train with somebody that you have to motivate to get them in there. Because that is a
That's
pain.
Exhausting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So if you're going to train with someone, at least let them be on the same page. But if you have to call them up every day and say, are you doing X? And that's why I think, especially for training, because are you training for the wedding or the marriage in itself?
That's a good thing to say.
Are you?
The marriage
I think
itself.
training with your partner is a great thing. Because
I have that question down here.
Good. Like, are you going to go home and they're eating a pizza and you're eating your whatever it may be?
Yeah.
So if the both of you are on the same page, you're going to hit the goal. And then when you come to the day itself, like, how great is that going to be?
Amazing.
Absolutely.
And then do you let yourself go afterwards?
Absolutely not.
I remember going
and that's why the habits are so important.
Yes.
It's part of my new lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing this. And that's why the word, like, terms like skinny and stuff like that are...
You don't like that word at all.
I don't like that word because Now, because I'll give you a bit of the science behind it. When we just get skinny, we lose lots of weight. And this is the part of yo-yo dieting.
Yes.
When we lose lots of weight really, really fast, we eat lots of muscle off our body.
Okay.
Now, what stores our calories predominantly is where we want them to be, is in the muscle.
Yeah.
If we get rid of the muscle, now where is it going to go?
Well, you've got stretch marks then, don't you?
On
your boobies. You
could do. But this is where the yo-yo dieting comes from, is
Okay.
that you lose muscle tissue so that when you go and normalize your calories again, your weight will balloon up.
Okay.
So
right.
maintaining muscle tissue throughout the whole cycle, like doing it, like even when you're cutting down weight, making sure you're eating enough protein and lifting weights will maintain the muscle tissue as you lose body fat.
Okay. How many steps should people do a day?
Dear God.
James, like, I'm sorry, come on now.
What's your starting point?
Well,
so are you doing no steps at the moment?
Yeah.
Do 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Like doing something is always better than doing nothing.
I know what you mean now by saying it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you are a person that drives to work, goes to your desk, comes home, watches TV.
Yeah.
If I said do 12,000 steps, it's too much.
That is too much. Yeah.
So if I was the person and say, like, what's the healthy version of me going to do?
Yeah.
I park a bit further away and I walk.
Okay.
I take the stairs and I walk to the shops instead of driving.
Okay.
These kind of things.
Right.
And then you look at I use a Whoop.
Yes.
Or on your phone.
A Whoop.
A Whoop. Look at your steps there. And then like anything, so like I mentioned before, this overload principle means over time we build these things up.
Right.
We don't just say, I'm super person today.
Okay.
Let's get at it.
Okay.
It's like, I start here.
Yeah.
Next week I'll be here.
Okay.
Next week I'll be here. But you're always trying to push just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this is where kind of having the guidance of someone in the industry is important, because like you don't want to injure yourself.
Yeah.
Now I know there's everything on the internet, but you want specificity.
Yes.
Like you want to know, is this something you should do?
Yeah.
So yeah, talking to someone as one of your trainers or in a gym is really, really important just to even start with.
Okay. So, when you're going to a personal trainer, because you were like, you're not going to ask me loads of questions about food, are you? Should you go to a nutritionist as well, or do you just learn it yourself?
It depends again.
I know, but I needed someone to tell me what to eat.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Because you're a busy person.
Yeah.
So like I'm much prefer being told what to do. Like I still work with a coach who does my program.
No, I don't like being told what to do.
I love being told what to do.
Oh, no.
When it comes to that
just tell me what to eat.
Yeah. So when it comes to training, like accountability will get you there faster.
Okay.
Like looking at your own things. And even for myself, I'm in this industry near 20 years.
Like so long.
I still want someone to say, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Is that good or not?
Okay.
Because like when you look at it yourself, you'll go, sure, I'll just.
Yes.
And there's too much of that.
Yeah.
So having someone, that's why like look at the MyFitnessPal, giving yourself these like basic figures of like, do I know what my calories are?
Yeah.
Do I know how much protein, fats, carbs I'm eating? Will give you enough information.
Okay.
And then from there, like, do I think you should talk to them? Absolutely. Like, and like, but any endeavor, I think that like if you're buying a house, obviously you're going to talk to somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Like you're looking at a car, you're going to be talking to somebody about like what is the best thing, like what might like put the same effect or the same amount of attention into your nutrition and exercise, because like it is important.
And then in the Edge, James, do you sort of have classes for brides, or do you have classes for, a team of people? What way do you do it? Or is it a la carte?
So we have about 4 or 5 different products. Mm-hmm. So we have like a group fitness class.
Yeah.
And then we move on to what we call small group PT.
Right.
Which we groups of 4 to 5, up to 6, let's say. Mm-hmm. And these could be friends. These could be people that don't know me. We just kind of pair them up with each other. Mm-hmm. But they work with a PT and they kind of get the same approach where they come in. We use an app. So they download this app. They can upload their nutrition for the week. Again, everyone's different in how much attention they want.
Yeah.
But it means that for a lot of people, they want to know, am I getting better?
Okay.
And that, like, if you're working with a coach and it's months gone by and they haven't checked in and said, you have done X. Not that I'm saying they're just taking your money, but you want someone to be accountable to.
Yes.
They're getting back to you often enough and saying, you did this last month. You did this month.
Yeah.
You did weigh this, now you weigh this.
Yeah.
And that kind of keeps everyone on track.
Yeah.
And in terms of like, should they be motivating you? Absolutely. But
Yes.
it just keeps you knowing, like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. And okay, so let's go to the morning of the wedding, right? On the morning of the wedding, what should I eat to feel amazing in my dress?
Yeah, great question. The exact same as you did the day before. And here's the reason why, is that like you're following this plan.
Yeah.
Let's say every morning you're eating like eggs and toast.
Yes.
You're already a bit nervous on that day.
Yeah.
Should you eat something completely different?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, you don't want to be running to the
Absolutely.
toilet.
So to avoid anything like that.
Or bloating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To avoid anything like that, at least you've had that year where you're eating the specific plan. Like you're varying it off it when you want, but you have, let's say, 3 or 4 kind of go-tos for breakfast.
Yeah.
You obviously feel good with that.
Yeah.
Don't change it.
Okay. All right.
Definitely don't change it.
Okay, James. So you don't want to be walking around with a belly the size of a football on the day of the wedding. James, that was absolutely
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
I'm sure everybody's going to want to get in touch with you now. And if they do, how do they get in touch with you, James?
Yeah, so theedgegym.ie.
Yes.
Or what is my Instagram handle? You'll see it through the Edge.
I'll share
so
it
just
on
the Edge
Instagram.
Clontarf, and you can
Clontarf.
get me through that.
Yeah, James Swan, thank you
You're so welcome.
much.
Thanks so much for
That
having me
was
on.
just amazing.
Thank you so much.